you wake up and you really can't sleep. And so tonight I just woke up, or this morning, I suppose it's morning, Saturday morning, December the 13th, about 3:30 a.m. And I hope no one else is really up with me, but I do want to get up and just talk this morning about Richard Byrd. Actually, happened to see this in the middle of uh, around 2 o'clock this morning, and it was very fascinating looking at Richard Byrd and all of the things that we have heard about him and the things that we've been taught, you know, in our community concerning this man who, again, he is one of the founding principal people that we look at in our community as a person who is a legend, uh, having gone to the South Pole and then being the person who has been on expeditions many times, even to the North Pole, then the South Pole, and coming back and telling us the history of, or what, telling us actually um, the 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 landscape of the South Pole, right? And there is a lot of wonder and awe in that. And for those of you who probably are new to this channel, you don't know that we started out talking about these kinds of things. And, again, for various reasons, YouTube began to fight us on these issues. So, I kind of abandoned them, but every now and then I go back and I look to take a look and see what people are talking about. Is there anything new or novel? And I came upon this video here sharing the idea that Richard Byrd was a Freemason and he was involved in Freemasonry, right? So, again, as we look at this, there are a lot of there are a lot of people who possibly feel like, oh, well, Richard Byrd let us in on the truth and all of that. And so all of it was part of the plan, if if nothing more than just to lead us down a rabbit hole, or either to cover up what was really at the South Pole. Now here we have Richard Byrd here being awarded or given stamps and made into a legend. Richard E. Byrd from 1888 to 1957 received his own stamp, received his own postcard from the Grand Lodge of New York. And, he was an affiliate of the Lodge of the Cane Lodge in New York City, 1928. Also, a Federal Lodge number 1 of Washington, D.C. And he also started his own lodge, which is the Order of the Penguin, right? So that's one of the things that he established was the Order of the Penguin in Antarctica in 777. So again, I'm looking at some information that was given to us here by another researcher, and he's been busy at it, given all sorts of information. So again, one of the things that he pointed out is that Richard Byrd was also part of the Society of the Hidden Hand. Um, and, by having his hand in his pockets, that doesn't really seem like it's a harmful thing. I've seen many men do it. But, when you're that heavily involved in world politics, world illusion, you have to be suspect of all of the things that we're seeing, right? And so as we see these things, it makes you begin to wonder, question, say, wait a minute, how much of what we know about these people, our history, the people in our history, do we really know? How much do we really know about anything? Because as we look at all of this, uh, there are people who are involved in deep deception, right? And so we understand that, okay, well, if these people are involved in some sort of like history or some sort of like hidden hand or some sort of secret organizations, they also are manipulating us to a point that to make us believe in Santa Claus. Now, I'm not saying again that all of what we have been researching over the past, I don't know. I know that this thing started in about 2014, and that's when it all took off in the internet. 2014, 2015, 2016, and then we had our conference, and then we had all of these people, and I'm speaking in code because I don't want YouTube to raise any red flags. But we had all these people who became very popular up under this movement. And I'm not, and again, I certainly do believe in it because the Bible talks about it and supports biblical cosmology. But you have a number of people who are steering the ship per se to guide us to the various people that we are to consider as significant people in the in the movement, right? And I won't say what the movement is, the FE movement, right? So the FE movement. Maybe maybe the algorithm won't pick up what I'm saying, but I'm sure the algorithm is pretty smart. It knows what we're talking about. anyway, anyway, um, it talks about that again. All of these people here who were established as iconic people that we talk about, that we would give notice to, gave us a lot of evidence to believe that there's something very dark that's being hidden at the South Pole. So here, these people, again, this particular man went to the South Pole. We don't know why he went there. It was not a United States expedition. It was not a government expedition. It actually was a Masonic expedition, which I didn't know. And I was just doing the listening in on this conversation that this gentleman is having. And he led them on a Masonic expedition to go to this place and establish the order of the Penguin, right? Order 777. So go figure. Why would he do that? Why would he actually go there? Now, from what I understand, on Google Earth, you can't even the place that he went. You can't even see it on Google Earth. But there is plenty of evidence that there's something very secret about the area that he went to, in the South Pole. Here it is. Here is the ship that he took to go there to Antarctica. And so again, also there was some flying that he did also there, and then he wrote a book about it. And all of this is given to us in what do you call filtered information. They give us filtered information about Richard Byrd and how he lived and what he did and that kind of thing. But again, we have a lot of filtered information when it comes down to all of the people that are very significant key people in history, right? And so, again, if you're just up just to watch me, don't mind me. I'm just again, it's late and it's early in the morning, and or early in the morning, and I just don't feel like sleeping anymore. Just feel like getting up and talking, right? So here we have here this page here. I pulled it up and I was looking at just kind of doing a little research on this Richard Byrd, just Googling and that kind of thing. And here it is. They have it on nice, clean, uh, pristine history called masonrytoday.com. And of course, in Masonry Today, they can't help but show you all of the men who have changed history, right? All of these people who have done significant things in history. I call them white men wearing wigs. And I think I need to write a book called White Men in Wigs because it seems like these guys had a preoccupation with wearing wigs, right? Uh, you know, it is a funny thing because I think, again, in Parliament, I think Parliament and all of the lawmaking bodies um, in England, right? you're going to see white men wearing wigs, and even in established colonies where they have all of these, these royal societies and all of these people are in the club, right? They love, they love to, show off their way of thinking, their way of life, and that kind of thing, right? And so again, if you go to even Africa, if you go to some parts of Africa, you're going to see them wearing wigs because it just really establishes that the people who have control over the world are kind of loony. What is this all about? And so, God, guys, I'm sorry about this, but it is funny that these guys, they really love to wear wigs, and they carry us down these rabbit trails about the world and the way the world is, right? And they explain to us the way the world is in ways that capture our fascination and our imagination and that kind of thing. They establish themselves as God because, of course, God is sitting in heaven with a wig on. Lord, forgive me, Jesus. No, you're not wearing a wig. But I think it's really funny because they are usurping authority. This is the absolute highest of hubris, right? The mind of man trying to establish themselves as God. So they will get into a position that they create a law, and then they create these laws, and these laws are designed by man so that they can usurp authority as the ultimate, um, your honor, right? Your honor, going into the courtroom, swearing on the Bible, having these guys sit there with a wig, and they are the chief magistrates over all things on earth. So as above, so below. And that's kind of how it's being seen. Now, these people also establish the way we should think about just about everything, right? Everything in the world is created by them in their framework of thinking. If you get outside of their framework of thinking, of course, you're going to be stepping into an area that you will likely be banned or likely be silenced because censorship is the way they control the world through their laws. And again, it's going to be even worse, right? In the future, because if they continue to do this, nothing, no free thought, no expression, no innovation will ever go beyond what these men, the order of the society establishes, right? And that's what it's all about: order, the order of these people, the Masonic order, the order. And so when they establish these orders, they also establish rules, and then they establish the way that we should see the world, that we should actually view the world. And so, again, even all over the world, you're going to see this. Like I said, even in Africa, you have these black guys sitting up wearing wigs because that's the order that's been established, and again, they'll do it. So anyway, yeah, again, so our world was framed by people like Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, um, and then we have people like who didn't need to wear a wig, like Einstein, and all of these special-minded people, these geniuses that, you know, Winston Churchill and all of these great men, but they were all part of the order, right? Um, who is one of the greatest scientists of all, Isaac Newton, part of the order. And then, of course, you have your people who shaped our thinking, the way we see the world, your Columbus and all of your other people that come out of a Eurocentric perspective that have designed the way we should think. And so there we are. So we have it. And then again, here we are looking at Richard Byrd, right? And Admiral Richard Byrd. Interesting that they called him Admiral Richard Byrd, but again, the expedition that he took to Antarctica was not a U.S. expedition on the first time, and which is interesting, right? It was a Masonic expedition, and there's some information about that someplace here. Let me see if I am on the right page to get that here information here. Let's see if I can go over here. Give me a minute here. Take a look at this here. Let's see. 1928. Let's see here. There we are right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Byrd was an active Freemason, and he was raised and became a Master Mason in the Federal Lodge of November the 1st. And it says Washington, D.C., March 19, 1921, and affiliated with the Kane Lodge in 400 number 454, New York City, in September 18, 1928. And he's a member of the National Sojourners, Chapter 3, Washington. And in 1930, Byrd was awarded the gold medal of the Kane Lodge. Wow. In 1931, Byrd became a compatriot of the Tennessee Society of the Son of America Revolution, and he assigned state membership number 605 and the national membership number, well, you can see that, right? And he received the Society's War Service Medal for his service during the First World War. So the citations here are really significant of his heavy involvement in Masonry, right? Freemasonry. Now, as we think about this, um, we have to kind of go back and say, well, was he really letting us in on a secret? And is this secret that he was letting us in on something that he was getting away with, and something that it's a possibility that, we're getting hidden knowledge. We're getting all of this good information from Admiral Byrd, that all these, he went on TV and he said, well, there's more land to see, right? And he's letting us in on it, and that's the reason they got rid of him, right? I think he died at age 68, which is really early to be dying. But they said he died of a heart ailment. But people say, well, because he was spilling the beans, he was getting information out there. And that was one of the things that we were taught in the community, the FE community, right? And Richard Byrd is a hero of the FE community, because he let us know that there's something way beyond Antarctica. There's more land, and there are aliens out there too, possibly, and remember, there were a lot of people who were talking about aliens from outer space. Now, again, I'm not knocking the understanding of biblical cosmology. I believe in what the Bible says, but what I think is that these people calculated how we would perceive of things, and then they also use trickery, sleight of hand, and their own heroes. They create their own heroes. They're, what do you call, controlled opposition, to guide us into this particular argument. Because remember, just recently they had all of these guys who were from the FE community, right? They had all of these guys who all of a sudden, everybody changed. Everybody changed, except me. I didn't change. I still believe it, and I still support it. I still, there's nothing, you're not going to change me on that, because the word of God says it. And we know for a fact, we can look at the way the world is, and we already know what we know. You go outside. Do you feel yourself moving? You know what I mean? Do you see water bending over curve? You don't see that, right? So you don't see, there's a plenty evidence we already know. But what we don't know is the people that have been behind all of this thought. What were they gaining by trying to take the narrative and control the thoughts of people when it comes down to it? Like I said, a lot of white men wearing wigs will do that. They'll establish an order themselves and get everybody to go in the direction that they want them to go. And again, there's lots of deception. You cannot trust anybody, and this is it. You cannot trust anybody whose name is up in lights. You just can't do it. I don't care what, and it's so funny, because again, when I look at people like, you got your truthers out there, you got your Candace Owens. Oh, she's so true. Yeah, right. That woman is a millionaire, married to a millionaire. And so, come on, guys. You got your actors and your actresses, and you have your stars. And the word star alone makes us think about star worship and star power from the ancient days of when people used to worship stars, right? And so they do have us worshiping stars again, and all of the things in our society. Everybody that's on TV that's significant or everybody in going down in history that's significant, they all have these ties to this organization, right? They all are part of this Freemason organization. And again, I don't care who they are. You got, oh, I love Tucker Carlson. I love these other people. All of these different people you guys are loving. They're not going to let you in on the ultimate secret. What they're going to do is they're going to guide us in the direction of the thought pattern that they want us to have. And so, yeah, they're going to reveal some truth, but they're not going to reveal the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. But what they are doing is they are capturing our imagination, our mind, so that we will walk in the direction that they want us to walk, that we'll see the world in the way they want us to see it. And so again, this video that this gentleman was doing, and maybe I'll leave the link in the description. It really reveals a lot about what these people are involved in. Here it is. Again, the Lodge book, where the establishment of the Order of the Penguin. It's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? The name, the Order of the Penguin. But Richard Byrd established the Order of the Penguin in Antarctica. And it was the first thing he wants to do when he gets to Antarctica, if he ever went there. And that's another thing. That's the question, right? But the first thing he wants to do when he gets to Antarctica is to establish the Order of the Penguin. Can you imagine going to one of the greatest sites in the world to see one of the greatest wonders of the world? And the first thing you do is establish a Masonic lodge there. So this is what we call the Tyler's registration. Tyler. Oh boy, there's another name. Tyler's name keep popping up in videos. Tyler's name popped up with, of course, we know that Tyler's name popped up with the thing that happened with Charlie Kirk. He was shot by Tyler, right? And so the Tyler had a book of registration in Antarctica at Lodge 777. And the people who were in attendance to the lodge all signed on as they were part of this Masonic order of secrecy, right? These people are about secrets too. And so the order of the Penguin, right? This is what they did. And these men got together and decided, okay, we're gonna have our little club, our little big boys club. And so they established this order. And they also took this order, and the order of the Tyler, right? It's Tyler's registration. And again, remember, the Tyler is not a person. The Tyler is the name of a central figure in the Masonic Lodge order. That is, if you're given the name Tyler, that means you are the official guard that blocks everybody else from coming in, right? So you stand at the door with the sword, and if anyone comes to the Tyler, they have to know all of the language to get by the Tyler, right? You need to know the passwords, right? And that's where we get the word password. How about that? From Google, right? Google, the G, which they control Google, and they control Gmail, and they also control the internet. And so therefore you have to have a password in order to get past anything in internet world. So the Tyler is the one who controls that in the lodge. And so there's the Tyler's registration of Antarctica Lodge, and that was the Order of the Penguin established by Richard Byrd. And so was Richard Byrd a fraud? Was, a lot of times, we look at that old clip where Richard Byrd was saying, there's a land way beyond the well, it's land out there that nobody's ever seen before. It turns green, and he flew over it, and there's a lot of resources there. And then the story is that when Richard Byrd released this information, the Freemasons, they didn't like it, so he ended up being dying in his sleep or something like that, right? Because he gave away some information that he wasn't supposed to. But again, Google Earth, this is a picture of Google Earth. They're showing how they have certain areas of Antarctica where you can see, and then there are certain areas where you can't see it. And all of this is supposed to be hidden away by Google Earth. How can you know anything is true, though, when everything is controlled by the G, right? The Google, the Gmails, the all of the people who are under the G Society, the Freemasons, all of them are controlling all knowledge, all truth, all things are coming up under, again, the order of the white men wearing wigs, right? If you want to go back to that. Anyway, look, maybe that'd be a good book for somebody to write. I'm gonna give you that title. You can go ahead and get your book out there on Amazon and the rest of the world. Who knows? Maybe they might let that get passed. If you join the order of the order, what do you order of the penguin? The order secret. A lot of secrets, guys. There's a lot of secrets, right? Yeah. What do you say, Divergent? What do you say? There are a lot of FEers. If you know where to look, YouTube likes to hide us, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. That's the reason I'm trying to be silent about this thing, because YouTube is they get so mad when you talk about this stuff. It's very difficult to even talk about it. And so, you talk about it and then you get banned. There's that shadow. And so you got to be kind of careful with that. But again, there are the other people which really came out and they shocked us. And I'm really shocked by some of the people that were in the club. I should have known better anyway. Most of these people, they got coverage on the news, and they were like heroes of the community, and they had big memberships, big channels. Yet they never swore allegiance to the authority of the Lord Jesus Christ. I think that's where they draw the line. They pretend like they are Christians. They have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof, right? And so we do have that going on. And again, with Richard Byrd, again, his whole thing, he's no different than the rest of them, a fraud. That's basically what I'm looking at. Yeah, and it gets to be tiring, these people and their fraudulent behavior, their things that they do, all of the order of the different people. And there we are. I mean, what is this? I would do not put this on my tombstone, right? Okay, you have the cross above, but what do you have there beneath it, right? An upside down, a pentagram? Oh, man. And a pentagram right there. There you have it. Well, what is that? Well, that's looks like Satan to me. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. It's I had a cup of coffee and I finished the coffee and I felt a little bit like I was up and perky, but now I'm getting ready to go back to bed. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more. Sometimes we talk about crazy stuff like this and other stuff. God bless.